Okay, I have a couple of things I wanted to take up, things that I talked about in my speech. The first thing is the creation of this Financial Responsibility Committee. Here's a couple of copies of the motions I'm going to make. And the motion is to create an ad hoc committee to be known as the Financial Responsibility Advisory Committee, which shall consist of the administrator, the CFO, and the member of the Township Committee ex officio, and a minimum of 6 residents of Long Hill Township with financial, accounting, and/or municipal budget experience. The mayor shall nominate the chairman and members of the committee, who shall be approved with the advice and consent of the Township Committee. The Financial Responsibility Advisory Committee shall have the duty to review all matters pertaining to the budget with the assistance of the administrator and CFO, and shall report to and advise the Township Committee regarding the most prudent and economical means by which we can keep tax rates at a minimum for this year and stable for the foreseeable future. So that's the motion I'd like to make.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't be in favor of forming any committee until we have a full discussion about this.
Okay, let's have a discussion.
I'd like to know exactly what the parameters are going to be. I think this is something that we discuss in a working meeting, not something we discuss tonight. This could be a 45-minute to 2-hour conversation. I would absolutely not be in favor of doing this tonight. It's not that I wouldn't be in favor of it. I don't know what the responsibilities are.
Well, that's what we're here to do.
I mean, I think it's our responsibility to do the financial part of it. That's what we're elected as committee members to do. I don't think it's that we should turn it over to the public and ask them to take responsibility for something that we should own. It's our responsibility to handle the finances of this township. That's what we're elected to do.
There is a finance committee, but this is an advisory committee. It's made up of our experts, and I truly believe that, tapping the resources we have in our own town is key to the success of the township. We do that for our volunteers for many of our committees.
And that's what we're asked to do when we come on this committee.
Right.
It is an expertise that I frankly have, so it's part of.
Well, maybe then we'll put you on the committee.
But I'd like to discuss it more. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I know that you like full disclosure, and it certainly would want to have much. Maybe this is something that the three of you have discussed in more detail, but I've never been a part of those conversations.
We're here to discuss it.
Well, I don't understand anything about it. We've never discussed anyone who would be suitable to be on this committee. What all the responsibilities would be. I mean, have you laid this all out? Because I've never heard anything about it before.
Yeah, are people appointed for 1 year? Also, why is this an ad hoc committee? Why don't we have an ordinance and just set this up and do it as formal as the other ones? Frankly, I had to go through a lot of schooling and a lot of experience to learn financial accounting and municipal budget. I also spent many hours last year one-on-one with citizens, and some of them are in this room today, discussing municipal finance. And after 3 or 4 hours, I think they got a little bit, but our process last year took a little bit longer, and having something like this seems like it's going to be cumbersome and it's not defined. I think we should just create an ordinance and discuss it, like Chris said, and have this much. If this committee is so important, then we need to spend the time on it to put it into ordinance, to have this definitely a township committee appointment, and to have these people accountable to all the taxpayers in Long Hill Township. I don't see any accountability here. And I don't want to be responsible for this.
Any other comments?
Well, obviously the public has been clamoring for more involvement in the way their government is run and the way the money is spent. Am I not mic'd?
Yeah,
if you could speak closer to the mic,
sure.
That would help.
The public has definitely been clamoring for more involvement in the process. We heard that loud and clear over the last year.
Well, I appreciate that, Mr.
Yes.
Antonio, because last year I did have a finance committee.
Also, we have, I'm not finished, we also have the best and the brightest people sitting out there in the audience and throughout our township. If we have, these problems, like we said before, are not huge. We can solve them ourselves, but if we have people that have the skills that we require to do this more easily, I think we should tap them as a resource. They're a valuable resource.
That sounds great. There's nobody saying we're against
right.
it, but we need to have an ordinance. We need to.
Absolutely.
We need to,
so what Gene is saying is a more formal ordinance, more formal structure. That maybe
right.
we can do that. Maybe we can take that up at another time. Draft a formal ordinance, so it's not an ad hoc committee. Maybe it should be a formal committee.
Yeah. Well, we could start the process and codify it. Except the ordinance takes months to do, and our budget has to be drafted and proposed by February 10th. introduced by then, and then...
It could be an ad hoc committee and later transformed into a standing committee.
Absolutely. If you
Determined by
want-
whom, though? I don't see any of the parameters here in terms of...
Determined by us, that's why we're sitting up here. So, I mean, the point of having an ad hoc committee is so that we could get it going immediately, because we are in such a short timetable with respect to the budget, and there is no reason why we can't tap, individuals out there who, have experience. I mean, if you look at the words that I used there, we're going to select individuals that have experience in budgeting, whether they be accountants or, mayors or former mayors or township committee members, administrators of other towns. So that's the point. The point is to get some expertise up here. We're a brand-new township committee, and I'm not bashful to ask for help.
I just feel like finance and municipal finance is so difficult. I mean, I own a business and I've done a lot, and public finance is an animal unto itself. And I think even a CPA is going to look at it and not know definitions and not know potentially what's going on. And to put these people in a position like this, that they're not held accountable, and that I might have to rely on their expertise at some point, I just, I have to deal with this. I did last year have a meeting in public finance meeting. I think that might be the way to go, rather than form this. I thought it was extremely successful. We did it during the day because of time constraints, but perhaps we could do it in the evening. There were a lot of good questions. I think that there was a lot of education. And, to me, that would be, there's also a thing called citizen-based budgeting, which is a 5-step process, and it really goes through how you should elicit the help of the public. And I think that this should be, we should be talking about this, like Chris Collins said, and make sure that when we put this forth, it's something that is beneficial to Long Hill Township.
Well, we're talking about it, that's what we're
But
doing right now.
I think we're charged with this specific responsibility, that this committee...
That's right. We're not-
We don't have to have a 2-person finance committee.
Right.
We can be the ad hoc finance committee. And we've
We're not-
spoken about this in the past, and
We're not
I'd be in
abdicating
favor
our
of
role.
that.
We're not abdicating our role.
I
You're
think we're
mixing
asking...
apples and oranges.
I think
Two
we're
things.
asking for input greater than we should expect from a public committee. I think that's our responsibility. I think we're abdicating our responsibility by creating something like this.
No, because we would still have to adopt anything. I mean, it's not like the Financial Responsibility Committee, which is going to be an advisory ad hoc committee, is going to tell us what to do. They're going to make recommendations, and we could accept or reject or disregard them. I mean, that's still our responsibility. And so what it does is it's opening up the process for more people in our township to get involved in the budget that, that we pass and force people to pay.